I think we've said consistently that this is a marathon and it's not easy and it's complicated due to its size, the public-private partnership. I'd say this is a significant hurdle to get by. We were always confident we'd work it out one way or another. It's a significant hurdle to get by, and we're very excited. And when we shook hands with the mayor on Friday afternoon, we're excited to move forward. So I think it's a big step. Yeah, I think we've said consistently that this is...
Andrew Berry must be a lot smarter than me or us, because it doesn't make sense to me to trade a quarterback that you think enough of to make your opening day starter to a division opponent that's hurting in that area. But that's just my personal feelings.
So that's Coach Tom, an OG who's been around a long time, and obviously he knows AFC North football is very difficult. What he's alluding to is the fact, like, hey, we had Cincinnati down and out here. Why are we lending a hand at all within the division? Now there's other people from Cleveland that are speaking like, we got a 5th round pick in this exchange for a guy that we're never going to play again. Everybody else says, hey, we could have killed a team here. So BA, we say that.
You know, Shedeur, hey, he looks really good. It would be awesome to have him. He lied to me.
And he is exactly right. That's why it was really a mistake.
Man, listen, Shedeur is, we talked about it, Earl. He's talented. Like, he has all the talent and ability you want. He has the leadership qualities you need.
That Shedeur Sanders, over the course of the next 10 months, will be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
He was not a Shedeur guy. However, because of where he is and the quarterbacks that he is competing with, they've got to start him at some point. Kenny Pickett is injured and not an NFL quarterback. There is a 0% chance that Kenny Pickett is the Browns' answer at quarterback. 0%. Joe Flacco is 40 years old. There is a 0% chance Joe Flacco is their long-term answer at quarterback. Dylan Gabriel, he's too small. There is a 0% chance Dylan Gabriel is the Browns' franchise quarterback 3 years from now. Shedeur, there is a 5% chance Shedeur is the Browns' franchise quarterback. 5%. When the other 3 guys are combined 0% and you're going to be a terrible team, the moment the year has gotten away from you, you got to play Shedeur.
Bailey Zappi will be the backup quarterback on Sunday.
It's a great question. I wrote a whole column about this yesterday, and I made a very strong case that I think he should be. And I just wrote that because that's how I feel, and I have no idea if Kevin's going to do that. In fact, they might absolutely 100% make Shedeur Sanders the backup for this football game. But I don't think they should, for so many reasons that I outlined in this column. The first of which, and the most important reason I'm citing here, is the fact that Shedeur Sanders, I think, would be best served by heading into a football game with a game plan designed for his skill set. If he has to go in against the Pittsburgh Steelers, all they've practiced all week is a Dylan Gabriel scheme. He's more mobile. He's different. He's not as tough. I mean, there are just different traits these two guys have. You're not going to be calling, the RPOs and the bootlegs and the rollouts and the keepers and the design runs and different things that you will call for Dylan. Now, I'm making him sound like he's Lamar Jackson. He's not that, but he is definitely mobile enough, and that was his game in college, to zip around and make off-schedule plays at times and avoid sacks and do all those things. That is not Shedeur's game. They would have to devise a game plan that is going to maximize Shedeur's skill set. And one of his superpower, his number one superpower, is his elite accuracy. I see it even in the short amount of time that we are now allowed to watch practice. He is still showing off this uncanny elite accuracy. It's really something to behold. I see him do things that it's elite level accuracy is what I'm seeing out there. So he's got some amazing things that he can do as well. It's just not the Dylan things. And I think when he goes into a football game, he should have the supporting cast, the plays, and everything else designed to help him. So it's really not about him not being ready. It's about him not being game planned for this week. And why can Bailey do that, even though he's also a drop back passer? Because Bailey's been around for 4 years. He would more easily be able to adapt to some of the things that Dylan's doing. He would play faster. He can pivot. He can be thrown into a situation. He has been thrown into situations before. He's also started 9 games, won 4 of them, including one in Pittsburgh when he was with the New England Patriots. So
trying to rewrite that initial narrative that was out there that basically Shedeur is wasting everyone's time.
But I think, and Dion certainly thinks, that there is going to be a world in which Shedeur sets foot in a football game.
Wasn't Dion. It was clear that this was made from the Browns, and I do think that's what's interesting about this is because I think any time the Browns leak any report about Shedeur, it ends up backfiring, even if it's a well-intentioned one like this, which is to tell Shedeur fans
we can only control what we can control, but yeah, it's I don't want to speak for anyone in particular, and you know.
At that point, Gabriel was
played hardball and said, "Oh, really? You guys want to screw around? Screw you." No, they didn't. They took the high road. Duly noted, Jim and D. Very, very nice. $100 million, Chris. $30 million to get the old. Can I please, I'm begging you, Mayor Bibb. The first explosive. I want to do it. I want to blow that thing to sky high. The Haslams didn't have to do this.
There's something brewing deep inside the Cleveland Browns organization. And it's not just another quarterback controversy. It's bigger, louder, more deliberate. Because when you trace the money, the politics, and the timing, every sign points to one man pulling the strings. Owner, Jimmy Haslam. See, some are starting to believe this entire Shedeur Sanders situation, from the draft to the benching, wasn't an accident. It was a calculated move designed to stir chaos, generate headlines, and build hype for something much bigger. A plan that could reshape the Browns' entire future. Stick around, because this story connects football, business, and power like never before.
Wasn't Dion. It was clear that this was made from the Browns, and I do think that's what's interesting about this is because I think any time the Browns leak any report about Shedeur, it ends up backfiring, even if it's a well-intentioned one like this, which is to tell Shedeur fans.
Now, before we go any further, let me just say this. Look, I've been researching the NFL for the last 7 to 8 years deeply, and what I think is this. Haslam isn't just running a team. He's running a marketing empire in shoulder pads. Think about it. Cleveland just got approval for a brand new stadium. Billions are being discussed. And who's the one player that can electrify a fan base overnight? Shedeur Sanders. The name alone sells tickets, jerseys, media rights, everything. And if you think that's a coincidence, think again. Haslam might be turning his quarterback room into a storyline straight out of Hollywood. But here's where it gets wild. Sources close to the situation claim the Browns never intended to let...
Trying to rewrite that initial narrative that was out there that basically Shedeur is wasting everyone's time.
But I think, and Dion certainly thinks, that there is going to be a world in which Shedeur sets foot in a football game.
Let Shedeur start right away. Instead, this whole benching narrative might have been a ploy, a setup to create tension, to build a sense of injustice around him, to make fans demand him. Because in the entertainment era of the NFL, controversy equals currency. The longer Shedeur sits, the louder the noise grows. And the louder the noise, the more valuable he becomes to Haslam's new stadium project and to the entire Cleveland brand. Even Jimmy Haslam himself can't hide his excitement when he recently spoke about clearing major hurdles with the city and moving forward on the new stadium. He couldn't stop smiling. Why? Because
we can only control what we can control, but yeah, it's I don't want to speak for anyone in particular, and you know.
At that point, Gabriel was full. Once the deal was locked in, all he needed was a spark, a headline player to ignite the city. And who better than Deion Sanders' son? Haslam knows exactly what he's doing. He's selling hope, hype, and history all in one. And while fans think they're watching a quarterback battle, they might actually be watching a billionaire's master plan unfold. But then came the twist no one saw coming, the Joe Flacco trade. 1 minute, Flacco was the veteran insurance policy. The next, he's traded to the Cincinnati Bengals, a division rival. Let that sink in. A division rival. That's not just a football move, that's a statement. The question is, whose statement was it? Was it Berry's? Was it Stefanski's? Or was it another chess move from Haslam himself, trying to shake the board before the season even starts? Even Mike Tomlin couldn't stay quiet. The Steelers head coach called the trade shocking, openly wondering why the Browns would hand a proven starter to a division team that was desperate for quarterback help. And he's not wrong. Cleveland's decision made no sense, unless it wasn't about football. Some say it was a message from the top, that the old guard was being wiped away to make room for Shedeur's era. Because if you remove Flacco, you remove safety nets, you remove comfort zones. You force the new chapter to begin, ready or not. Now, Cleveland's media is at war. Half of them say Berry made a smart move, getting a 5th-round pick for a guy he wasn't going to play anyway. The other half, they're calling it betrayal. They say the Browns could have killed a team, but instead lent a hand. And you know what? They're right to question it. Because when a decision defies football logic, it usually means there's something else behind it. Politics, power, image, or maybe a deal that benefits the top more than the team. Before I continue, I just want to take a second. If you're loving this kind of in-depth NFL breakdown, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It really helps the channel grow and lets me keep diving into stories the mainstream media won't touch. Now, let's get back to the Browns storm, because it's about to get even deeper. Reports are now pointing toward a fracture between head coach Kevin Stefanski and GM Andrew Berry. Think about it. Stefanski hasn't publicly defended Bailey since the Flacco trade. Not once. And that silence is loud. Some insiders believe this is a major sign of division. One analyst even suggested Mike Tomlin's comments weren't random. They were a subtle defense of Stefanski, who might have lost one of his most trusted pieces in the locker room without his consent. The man's job just got harder, and the tension inside that building, it's boiling. At the end of the day, what's happening in Cleveland feels less like a football story and more like a power struggle disguised as strategy. A billionaire chasing headlines, a coach fighting for control, a GM walking the tightrope, and a young quarterback caught in the middle of it all. But one thing's for sure, the Browns aren't just building a stadium, they're building a storyline. And when it finally explodes, everyone will realize that Shedeur Sanders wasn't just drafted to play football, he was drafted to change the entire business of it.